Hey everyone, let's start healing. I'm Adrianne Murchison, and welcome to episode 98 of the Let's Start Healing podcast. We have more in common than we think, and what we have in common can change the world. Wow, I have a really fun episode for you today. I have three of my closest friends joining me, three wonderful women. We're all different, and we talk about so many different things. One of the things we talk about is getting older, what life is like at this moment, wellness, focusing on our purpose in life, what makes us thrive, what makes us happy, what pisses us off. Oh my God, we talk about so much, and it's a lot of fun. You see, we're all different. We talk about our spirituality, of course, and that's very interesting. Things get a little testy at times. Me and one of my guests are similarly aligned, and then my other two guests are similarly aligned, and it becomes interesting. But it really speaks to what this platform is about. This platform is about spirituality and healing and openness when it comes to talking about our faith and our journey in life and our relationship with our higher power. And we don't have to agree. All that's required is that we show up in love, and that's what we do. But we do stretch each other because we know each other. So we stretch each other a little bit more than I would normally in a episode where I'm not with such close friends. But it's all good. It's a lot of fun. And so my guests are Lanada Chanel Duncan, Nikki Young, and Gia Johnson. And I have known them for years, and each in very different ways. Lanada and I, it's really funny about when we talk about when we met, because we have a difference of opinion on that. As far as I'm concerned, we met in 2008. She would say it was a little later than that. I think, I don't know. Doesn't matter because we met in 2008. But Lanada is an interior decorator. She is a native of Philly. She has roots, deep roots in South Carolina. She's on her second marriage. She has two adult children. There's just so much with Lanada. She and I are like sisters. We are very much like sisters, and we can banter. And there's Nikki. Nikki and I go way back. Nikki and I go way back. We were college roommates, and Nikki is so full of life. And oh, gosh, I love her so much. I love her so much. I don't think she knows how much I love her. We were like two innocent girls in college, and we would just get into one dilemma after another in our freshman year. But we had so much fun. And I was not the memorable one of this duo. We would go out and we would meet different people, and people wouldn't remember me really until I say, well, don't you remember my roommate, Nikki? And they say, oh, yeah, Nikki. Because Nikki is so full of life, which you'll see. She's just her own person. Each of these women are their own person. And Nikki is divorced. She has a significant other, Rennie, who she refers to in the episode. And she has two adult children, Peyton, her daughter, and Chase, her son. And Nikki is an esthetician. That is what she does in terms of her passion, which she'll share. She's been doing that for 30 years. And she also has a daily grind, which we all talk about, that we have this daily grind, which they call survival job. Then we have what we do as our passion. This podcast is my passion. In my everyday life, I'm a journalist. I'm a local reporter for the local newspaper. And this is my passion, talking to people and learning their stories and talking to them about their spiritual path. and let me circle back to Lanada. Lanada is a full-time interior decorator, but for years, her grind was working in management in the medical industry. She was in management with a prominent medical practice in the metro Atlanta area. And in the last, I guess it's been, I can't keep track. I want to say it's been a little over a year, but it might actually be 2 years that this passion of hers as an interior decorator, where she focuses on peaceful living and cozy spaces where we can really just unwind and be our authentic selves. So I wanted to go back and share that about Lanada and come back to Nikki. And Nikki's specialty, which we talk about briefly, is that she does Brazilian waxes and bikini waxes, and she goes in, those personal areas and does the waxing. And I'm fascinated with that because that's not something I could do. And she is an expert at it. And then we have Genesija, also known as Gia. She is a healing practitioner of Thai yoga massage. And if you don't know what Thai yoga massage is, can't wait to share it with you in this episode. Phenomenal what she does. And we talk about that a little bit. We talk about so many things. Gia is a native of Jamaica, and she and I are aligned. We're not exact by any means in terms of our spiritual beliefs, but we are more aligned, as I alluded to earlier. And then Nikki and Lanada are a little more aligned. So also in the mix is my dog Shiloh, who makes himself known at a few different moments in the episode. So it is a really fruitful conversation of the four of us talking about, as I said, where we are in our lives now and how we see things. And it really is so interesting to me because we all have different sensibilities. Well, I can't wait for you to meet these beautiful women, and you will see that each are very strong in their spirit and in their beliefs. Let's get to my guests for this episode. Let's meet them and let's start healing. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome. Are we supposed to say hello or not welcome this week?
Y'all are so bossy.
Hello there. We're all happy and blessed to be here.
Give us a minute to get some more wine in us.
I'm excited that you're here. I want to do a series around women at different ages and how they're feeling about themselves, how they feel in their skin, how they feel about life, what's going on in the world, and especially how they feel about their spirituality and their own authenticity. So this is really cool. You're three of my closest friends. Wow. So share with me today how you are feeling in your skin. How do you feel about yourself in this moment today? How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'll go first. In my journey so far on the planet, I've always been comfortable in every decade that I've been experiencing so far. I'm 56 right now, and being in my 50s, I'm quite comfortable with that because I like the wisdom, the knowledge, experience that I've garnered over the years. And I've always enjoyed each decade, so I don't feel like I need to be younger. I don't feel like, any of those thoughts. I'm quite comfortable. If there's one struggle right now that I have is with my weight. Because I've put on like about 25 pounds since COVID. So, and I've always been pretty slender and stuff like that. But I mean, apart from that, I'm actually quite at peace with myself in terms of what's going on, where I'm at in my life, looking forward to more possibilities and growth and development. And, I think I feel awesome for that. Other emotional stuff I've been dealing with, just watching certain loved ones of mine struggle with health issues and pain and suffering for the past 6-7 months. So that's been something that I've been working through. And it's not necessarily about dying, because, and in my mind or in my belief system, dying is just a transition. So, and I know I can communicate with my loved ones at will, whether they're here or on the other side. It's just watching the pain and suffering, and not just with them, just with the whole planet too, So it's been a little bit challenging to watch for the past 7-8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Nikki?
Today, I feel at peace. I feel positive. It's crazy. I have both my kids at home with me, but it's been kind of fun. And I'm so glad I'm there to help them and everything in any kind of way I can. I feel good about the future, the possibilities. The thing about it, my mind is still so good, but sometimes my body tells me otherwise, because I have these little aches and pains. I'm like, where did this come from? You know what I mean? But it's like, so now I understand when my aunt, who I love dearly, who's passed away, she would look in the mirror and go, is that? Because she would be like feeling so good, but like, her face would be aging. And she said, I don't feel like I look. I feel better than I look. And so I get that now totally when I think about her saying those little things now. And I didn't get it when I was younger, but now I do. Other than that, I feel good and positive and blessed to be here. And I'm 60, will be 61 in March. And I feel good about that, because everybody doesn't make it that
Right.
older.
Right.
And you're an empty nester, and your 2 kids are back, but you're enjoying them.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it because they're fun and everything. And it's a trip how life can be, but right now they just need a little help. Well, Peyton is doing good. She's great. My son just has to get himself together, but I'm so glad to be there for him to help him get together. I'm so glad, because my coworker said, well, it's even though it's like this, but at least you're blessed that you're able to help him, and that feels good. I'm not far away living somewhere, or I'm here, I'm alive to help them and everything. So it's good. And then I must say, Rennie has been so supportive. Oh my goodness.
I was about to ask you about that.
Supportive.
Your significant other.
Significant other. At first, it was a scary thing, but he has been so easygoing and being so supportive, because that was a little stress for me to think about, to bring, had Peyton and the cat. Now it's Chase, so it's all of us and the cat. But he is just so cool. So that makes it peaceful. It makes it peaceful.
That's great. You've got that support.
Yeah, got that support. Yeah, I feel blessed about that.
Miss Chanel Duncan.
Okay, so where am I today? Okay, I'm 52, and I think that for me, I waver, honestly. I go back and forth. We all said so far we feel blessed to be here, and I think the waver for me is that, you want to stay positive about things. You want to constantly think about the things that you want to be grateful for, your blessings. But there are days, of course, when we hear about things that happen in the news or whatever, or happen in real life. I'm not going to say the news because it's reporting on real life stuff, right? That I just, I guess for me, my anxiety kicks in, and it's a worry about what's tomorrow going to look like, or my children, can my sons leave, walk the streets or drive, and can I walk the street and drive, for that matter, driving to South Carolina to see my mom 3 hours away, used to be nothing to jump in the car, but now sometimes I worry about how people are going to act on the road. And so we carry worries that we never had to deal with as much before. We had to think about them, but we've really got to think about them now. And I think as an African-American Black woman, sometimes these things worry me, but I try not to let it, because we can't let these things control our minds and how we live our life from day to day. And as I do my business and things like that, while I'm mindful that we have to be careful and that I'm not 25 anymore and my body doesn't move or go as long as it used to, I just go through sometimes the worries, but sometimes I just push myself to block all that out, because God is always in control. And I have to remember that none of us are promised tomorrow, no matter how old we are, but we do have today, and I have to live for today. So for today is what drives me to get up and go get it every day. Right. Health-wise, there are the scares. There are things that I just didn't really, again, have to deal with when we were younger. every mammogram now, and I'm sitting on the side worrying until I get a result. It's just things like that. The fear of falling, just stuff like that. Now, when you fill out a paper form, when you go to the doctors, it's like you actually have that fear. I used to do that young. I'd be like, who fears falling? But yeah, I do. So that's where I am. But I try not to stay there. I just have to let the faith kick in on a daily for me, and just get up and walk by faith.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel pretty good. I've been feeling better in my skin because I've been going to the gym more. And I realized that opens up a lot for me. And these last 3 years, it's been hit and miss with going to the gym, where I was like really active physically, in terms of fitness before the pandemic. But I do know that all the deaths around me, around my family, have shook me up. It's like, geez Louise. And so I'm trying to eat better and look at some of my habits and see what happens. My blood pressure has always been low, like extra low. And then I went to the doctor about a month ago, and my top number was higher than it normally is. And I was like, what the heck? And so it could be the food I eat. It could be salt, because I know I eat a lot of salt, but we'll see. But that really had me like, oh, no. Yeah. I am not a person that is, it wasn't super high. It wasn't high like, you have to go on medication or anything like that. But it definitely, I was like, no. This is not something that I'm going to walk around worrying about. I'm not, no. So that really has had me, starting to run more frequently and trying to not have so much lemon pepper salt on all of my stuff.
I can totally relate. The same thing happened to me. My blood pressure, and I was like, damn. So I cut back the salt. I stopped using salt myself.
Yeah. Let me ask you, ladies, how would you describe your knowing of God? I know each of you very, very well. I know you each have a relationship with God. How would you describe your relationships, your personal relationship with God? And that's how I define spirituality. I know everybody has a different definition for that word, but for me, spirituality means the relationship with our higher power. And everybody doesn't call God God. Whatever you call that divine energy, how would you describe that relationship?
I think
we need to get Gia on the microphone.
Or Gigi. Or Genesthesia. Or Guinea. Or G. Take your pick. But
come on, G, get on that mic there.
I think how it has crystallized for me so far is that there is me that have the relationship with my Creator. And then I see, or I relate, or I try to relate to the Creator in all things too. So for me, it's just not me standing, just thinking it's right here. It's also just with everything. If I'm walking and I see a squirrel and I'm looking, I feel the Creator speaks to me through the squirrel. And the trees, other people, even though at times people are a little bit more hard to discern, or I think can be. But that's how I feel. Like the wind, I love driving, or if I love being hiking, and I just feel that cool, brisk wind just twirl around me, and that speaks to me. Or I go to the ocean, and the waves are rough, and they come. There's just that, and it's a thunderous kind of, moment. So there's those aspects of feeling the Creator, but there's also that aspect of the Creator that comes through in impressions or occasional voices speaking, So that's pretty much how I feel present in the Creator. Now there's the intellectual aspect of the Creator that is there, which I understand and know. But there's nothing beating in that moment where you have these connections and you almost feel tearful. Sometimes I get teary-eyed or overwhelmed about that feeling, that connection. So that's how I see
and you sometimes say Father, Mother, God.
Yeah, I say
And
that.
is that the equivalent for us? For me, if I say the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit,
I think it is. For me, Father, Mother, God represents all that God is. It's a combination of both energies. You can't have one without the other. The yin and the yang. You just can't. It's the whole premise. It's intellect and emotion, and both are powerful. I think we're here on this planet to experience through the senses, eyes, touch, smell, feel, whatever. I think that's why we're here, to use this whole interaction to share and express love with each other. I think not having it is just just barely being existing in the intellect as it's showing on the planet. That's why you have so much insanity. People are just in that mind intellect aspect of existing. Mm-hmm. So the intellect and the brain is just supposed to be just tools to navigate the earth plane for you to create those unique experiences through what inspiration that you're supposed to be receiving from the creator. That's what it's for. But, most of us don't understand that,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. How about you, ladies?
I want to lean into what Gia's saying. It's funny. I grew up in the church from a perspective of with a religion of Baptist and then non-denominational and all that. But it's not until as I got older that I'm experiencing God in a new way. Not just older, but of course some experiences have happened in my life to just channel my faith, not my faith differently, but how I live that faith out in my life a little differently. But so much more the connecting with nature and the things around me that, like you said, it's the intellect and the spiritual and the other areas that we experience God. And that's where I am now. And I want all of that where, before, when you're younger, you grow up and some things are just so foundational or just so on the surface, I should say. Right. But now I'm leaning into these other ways that I can experience God through relationships with friends and times that we just take for granted, like this right here, right now, that means so much, right. Coming together to talk about something like this, taking the time to do that and just getting up and telling my husband I love how much I appreciate the things that he does that, we forget to do, or watching him do the things that he does. The kids, taking walks with, I went to the nature center with my grandbaby a few weeks ago. We had the best time. I just played hooky and we just walked and saw birds and listened to things. And to me, just the whole presence of God was in that entire situation. And it was such an experience that I'm so glad I took the time to create that memory for she and I, So it's doing the paradigm shift. I say that a lot, to experience God in the things that I used to just take for granted. So I don't attend church on a regular at all anymore. And I was for years, I was a pastor's wife at one time. So, but my life, the dynamics of that has changed so. And it's not that, and definitely don't see anything wrong with it. I just see that God now speaks to me in so many other ways and has that relationship with me. And I live out my faith in so many other ways now, creating a space where someone else can find peace in their home. Just things like that, to me, open myself up to experience God in a deeper way. So.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, as you know, I grew up in the church and loved that base and enjoyed that. And I don't go to church as often as I used to. I used to go so often. That was before COVID, but now I watch it online and it is entertaining and enjoyable. I love my minister. So good. And I know God is there and with me. And sometimes I just watch the news and everything and I'm like, aren't they scared to go to hell? I mean, all this crime, like, I'm like, aren't y'all scared to go to, and I remember,
Apparently not anymore.
I know, and it's like all these bad things that happen, but such a good thing. I get to watch TV a lot at my job, and Steve Harvey was on there, and I love him, and he was saying, they asked him some different things, and he said, what's your goal now? He said, I'm getting on up there. He said, my goal is just to be good and go to heaven. I said, ooh, that was so true. I get it. I was like, I get it, And then it is so depressing to see all the violence and things like that. And so many people are they thinking about those things? But then sometimes I'll have these little nice things that are done for me that I'm like, there is a God. For instance, I was at work and in the cafeteria, and this guy who I see a lot, out the blue, I'm getting ready to pay for my food, and he said, I got you. I was like, what? I was like, there is a God. Like that. I was like, what? There is a God.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
A
And
good
then,
pay it
you know,
forward even,
yeah.
yeah.
And then this was another one. I'm in the line at Target, and this lady, pretty black lady in a wheelchair, the motorized one that they have at the stores, she pulled out a little fan, and I was like, oh, I need that for my job because I have one that's too loud, and sometimes I get hot. And I said, oh, how much was that? She said $5. I said, I'm going to get it like that. So I said, well, I'll wait for other you. She said, get it, girl. I got it for you. I was like, oh. I was like, there is a God. It just feels so good because you see such violence, you know, on TV that you like, are they forgetting about being good?
I know.
It's just basic stuff, you know? So anyway, I know there's a God, and I, you know, think about him and pray all the time, and just ask for guidance and to pray for my kids when they're out at night. I pray that they come back, and, you know, and just, you know, he's just with me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
I can feel God in all kinds of ways. And one of the ways that I really appreciate lately is if I'm upset about something, if I'm discouraged about something, and then God will do something. You know, it could be that he'll take me to a page in my Course in Miracles book, or something will shift. There'll be something that I know that God is saying to me, I love you. You know, that lifts my spirit or directly speaks to whatever the thing is heavy on my mind and spirit. And I will have been upset or crying about it, or just really hurting in my spirit, you know, about something. And then there'll be something that is speaking to that and lifting that up. So not to get controversial, but I'm like, I have to.
Go there.
Hold on to your seat, Nikki.
Okay.
Hold on to your seat, Nikki.
Look,
All
we
right.
need more wine.
I feel right. And
Everybody take a
somebody
sip.
please take a picture of Shiloh. Okay. He had his face, he had his chin on the base of this mic. Yes.
He's like, I want to speak.
Right? He's like, what about me? I want to say when I feel God.
Picture.
He feels God when I'm kissing on him. That's when he feels God. So
That's right.
So
That's right.
but I must say, I feel like Lanada probably knows this already, because it would shake her up too. But I feel like you know this already. But I don't believe in hell.
You don't.
Look at Nikki. Nikki's like, you
But let me just say
don't.
this. I hope it's true. I hope it's not a hell.
Yeah, I
Look, but just
but
in case.
the only reason that I have a desire to bring it up is because there have been relationships. I feel like a lot of people are changing, because I have definitely one relationship, but more than one that it's affected. But one person broke up with me over that. Yes.
You mean you not believing there's a hell?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, people take this.
Yeah.
People take this religious heaven,
Yes.
heaven, hell.
Wow.
Yeah, and I haven't understood, like, if I believe in love, what is the harm and the offense if I believe in love? If I think that love is all there is, why does that bother a person so much?
So it's
you
not
know?
to say you don't believe in evil, good or bad, and you know that there's good or bad, or evil and
Good.
whatever, good, right? You just don't believe in hell.
Right. I believe, my faith teaches me, and this is truly what I know and who I am in my spirit, is that God loves all of us, even the most hateful person, equally. And that when we do something, like if somebody walked in here right now and I just walked up to them and just clobbered them, then I'm forgetting who I am. Like I'm no longer connected to the God part of me that is trying to hurt this person. I'm very removed from that. And that's why I do those things.
So what happens to a person that carries evil in their heart, lives it out every day, never repents or turns away from it? Where do they go when they die?
I believe that they are still with God. I believe that they are still with God. And there's no reason for me
Where?
in what we call heaven, in that other world. Now, I have different ideas about
Heaven.
reincarnation and other, what's the word I'm trying to think about? Like dimensions. I have different ideas about that, but I don't know what's true. But I used to think that, okay, let's say I'm just like a person that walks around and I murder people. And then beside me is somebody that never does that. They're just full of love, right?
Yeah.
I used to think that we might not necessarily go to the same place because we're not evolved in the same way. But then I was talking to somebody who said she had a lot of experiences with God and Jesus, and I brought that up to her, and she's like, no, we all go to the same place.
And
It's
so
all the
this
same.
place-
And I don't know that, but I tended to believe her.
that.
But what were you going to say?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to understand is that, and in this place, evil and good coexist.
Yeah, that's
Well,
yeah.
no.
Okay.
No. I believe when we're with God, then there is no question. There's no more questions. There's no need for anything. We have complete awareness. We have an awareness of what is. It's like the biggest awareness that I had for me was when my mom was in her last months. And you know, she had all these needs, and sometimes I was making her happy and sometimes I wasn't making her happy, and I loved her more than anybody, you know, on the planet. And it was so stressful, and I was just losing my mind, and I was just like, oh my God, like, you know, when you get to heaven, you're gonna see like what I'm going through, you know.
Yeah.
And then when it got down to her final days, like I would say like the final couple of months, all I wanted was to be with her. You know, we were talking about like getting our hair done, you know, like when you got hair. I was so exhausted that I would go get my hair done on Saturdays, fall asleep while she's putting the perm, you know, in my hair. And all I wanted to do was just get back to my mother. All I wanted to do was be with my mother. And all I understood was that nothing matters but love. All this stuff that's going on in the world, you could pick politics, you can pick Memphis, George Floyd, work. Nothing matters but love. And, you know, agendas, power, that's just all human stuff. And nothing matters but love. And so when we're actually with God, we know that.
So how is the good and the bad in the space with God? A person that's so bad in the space with God, in your ideas about it?
In what we call heaven,
Yeah.
that is irrelevant and moot. In my idea, God doesn't look at that person, for me, as you're bad, because God only sees his child who forgot who they are when they were in this form. But now, if they don't know, well, he's going to show them through love, and they're going to understand through love, because they're not in this. This is not anything for me.
Yeah.
You know, this
Yeah.
isn't. This is.
And while I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. The last part. I guess the question would be then, because as someone that grew up in the church, and I would say before I even say in the church, because that's a physical place, but when I accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior, and the acceptance of Christ, we understand why Christ came to earth in the physical form. Why he died on the cross.
Why did you? Why?
And
don't
why
mean to cut
he-
you.
no.
Why do you think he came to earth for us?
Because man had become so evil, and there was a need for redemption. So Christ was that redemption, the sacrificial lamb.
Okay.
And that's how, again, our scripture teaches us as a Christian, where we grow up in the church. Now, mind you, let me first say, clearly we are all going to have our different answers and responses, and that's why even as friends we all have different beliefs, or some of us have different beliefs. But to accept that, you know, or to hear that, while I respect everyone's belief, mine teaches me there was a need for Christ, and that's what. So
Yeah.
to say that once we get to heaven there's evil and good, then we're eliminating the need for Christ and the acceptance of Christ as Savior. So my understanding
so?
is, if we know what Christ, because he died for sin.
Can I say?
And so if we know, sure.
So this thing about dying for someone else. It's my belief that no one can save you from anything. There is a karmic responsibility for everybody has a karmic responsibility to God for their actions. I don't believe that anything or anyone can save you. Thus, you have to save yourself. Me personally, I thought Christ came to show us love. He says, this is the way. Love is the way. I think the church religion really messed up the message about about what Christ's journey was.
It preaches
that. Yeah, it really messed up.
But it preaches the message of love as well.
Yeah, but it also taught what it does is say that, okay, God will save me from my sins. I can't save that means nobody else can save. It doesn't make people take responsibility.
Well, hold up a second. Hold up a second. First of all, we have plenty of time.
Okay.
So we all can share what we want to say.
Because this whole religion thing is so complicated.
Of course it is.
Back to your devil. Yeah, back to the devil thing about heaven and hell and all that stuff. I agree with you. I don't see it as, I believe that heaven and hell is right where you make it. Your state of mind, your existence, your consciousness, your awareness. I don't see it as a place per se. I see it as a state of mind. I do think that true heaven is being one with God. And I think it's going to take a lot of incarnations to actually experience the wonders of God, to surrender our will to this divine force, because it is so powerful. It's so everything. With regards to when you die, I do believe you go off into other dimensions according to what lessons you have to learn and what your energy, awareness, or consciousness is. In the other realms, you're not going to be put with persons who have a certain awareness about God. It's almost like and the Buddhists will talk about this, there's different levels of awareness that you go to experience until you can make your way back to God's totally. That's going to take a lot of time. I had an experience when I was in New York, and I knew I went off in another dimension. I don't know what it was, but I was sleeping, but I was aware. And I had this being come from the other side to me and said to me, and it was weird because I've never heard that sound before. The portal that which it came through, it was just all these sounds that I can't even describe to you what the sounds were. And that entity came over to me, through to me, and I saw him. I saw him clearly. He was either Italian, or I think he was an Italian-looking person. And he said to me, something about, my mother, in terms of visiting or something. I don't remember. But it was so clear and graphic to me that I know I'm not going crazy. I'm not hallucinating. This was real. All I'm trying to say is that there are other dimensions, and sometimes other beings come into us. Sometimes we go over. Yeah. So when we die, the thing to think that it's all final. My question is, if we say we believe in love and we believe in God, why would the Creator send us here? And then that would be it.
Right. What was the message that you think was coming through the experience you had?
I think of it more that my awareness was opening up more than anything. Because when I had the discussion about it with my spirit mom, she says, as your awareness open up, you're going to be open to other entities coming through to you, because you're opening up. You're not like as earthbound in your awareness. And she says this was probably an experience for you to see. And it may have been due to her apartment. Maybe the energy vortexes there are more open, because I never had that experience at mine. I had my experiences at my apartment where I knew people visited me because I could feel them with me in my bed mostly. And I could feel that their presence was there. And I would just relax and open up to it. But this was totally different.
Yeah.
And this was the first time, apart from God talking to me and I'm hearing and I'm feeling it, this was a totally different kind of experience.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why having had those experiences, even with God, when God spoke to me, I remember when I had one of the most profound times, I was looking at this plant. I had a plant that wasn't doing as well as all the other plants. And I was there saying to the plant, why the hell you can't be as pretty as the other ones, right?
Yeah,
You know, I went to my bed and God said to me in a loud, booming voice, I mean, my whole body vibrated with the sound. All my creations have life, even when you think they don't have life. That's what the Creator told me.
You know what? It's so,
Yes.
first of all,
Yeah.
people can't even know by me expressing this
Yeah.
how wonderful you are with plants. I mean, you have a gift. You have a
No,
gift.
I don't. I just
Yes, you
take
do.
the easy ones.
No.
The easy ones that I
can
can
take
take
those
care
easy
of.
ones and they won't look like that. But yeah, I think about that, what you just said.
Yeah.
At this time of year, all the time, I look at the trees and I look at how bare they are. And I think about how we just, if we didn't know, you know, because of all of our lives, we see the seasons change.
Right.
We would look at a bare tree and just think, it's dead, it's gone. You know, what was there and it's left. But
They're still alive.
they're still alive and they're going to come into full bloom,
Yeah.
you know, again.
Yeah, Father, Mother, God said to me, all my creations of life, even when you think there's none there. I was like, okay.
Yes.
You know, I just said, okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is when this thing about punishing, those are all human emotions. Those are all human beliefs. God is love, pure love. God does not punish.
And it's what we
yes,
have
we punish
enacted.
ourselves.
I'm not sure what you mean by punish. Where'd you get that from?
Judgment, punish, judge. The Creator, the energy itself does not judge.
Even our legal system, which I'm not trying to dismiss it or say that it shouldn't be what it is.
Right.
But the legal system is what we created as human beings.
Right.
That came about from our
And that's
doing.
why it's not perfect, because it's been created with our intellect. Intellect does not know everything. That's why we really have to seek counsel with the Creator about doing everything, because our small brains just have a very small perception of what it's been exposed to through sight, touch, whatever. Then you have your own experience. But who really knows the totality of all experiences? The legal system cannot serve as a 100% type of solving the problems. At some points, we as humans have to step out of the narrative and look at the human situation of the picture. You know, I mean, there's just not one story that fits the book. Everybody has their unique stories.
What are you thinking, Lanada?
I'm not thinking anything in particular other than that. Again, I appreciate your way of seeing things, but I don't fully agree with everything that you guys have said. Sure. And I think that's just a matter of differences. Never do I ever feel like God is a punisher, but he does punish, absolutely. And the scripture tells us this.
How
and
does
I believe
he punish?
in the scripture. I think we should read the scripture, and that's a longer, deeper story. And that's another time. I don't know that we want to get into a lot of that, but we see in scripture that absolutely is called, I mean, we saw that in the book of Noah. We saw that in the days of Noah, that the flood was a punishing of the evilness that had covered the earth, which is why he sent the flood. The scripture tells us about another form of punishment that will come in Revelation. And again, we can call it whatever word we want, cleansing, punishment, maybe just cleansing of evil. God is not a God of evil. He's a God of love. And Christ did come to give and spread and show us how to love, which is why the acceptance of Christ in your heart, you need it in your heart in order to live through that and to live it out. So I think it's just respecting everyone for the way that he has planted the seed of his love in your heart and how you choose to live that out. It's a matter of respect. But we probably are never going to see eye to eye on certain things.
I have one more question. What about the aspect of free will?
We absolutely have free will. So none of anything that I've said should give you the impression that once we plant the seed of Christ in our heart and accept him as our Savior, that now we are controlled like robots. Free will is how we go out and live our life. Do you choose to go and shoot up schools and murder people? Do you choose to go and love and feed the hungry? So free will is how we live out that faith every single day, and how we live out that love that God has given us and who he is every day. That's free will, right? So that's never taking away. But again, live that life, and in that life, because I follow the Bible and my teaching and my understanding completely is there will come a time and we will have to answer for the things that we've done in this body.
I mean, that's what they call judgment.
Yes,
yes. So that's a difference.
But I don't believe that we judge ourselves. I believe that when we go over back on the other side and we see whatever negative or positives that we do, we look at it as it's like you're looking back at your life and you're looking, you know what, I could have done that better. And I believe that at some point you'd want to come back to make it better.
I don't think that it would matter at that point. And that's where I do somewhat understand what you were saying, that at that point we're in existence. So it doesn't, all that will matter is love, because that's all there will be. I don't believe evil will exist with God in heaven. Now, that's not my belief. Again, that's my belief. So when Nikki said Judgment Day, and when you mentioned, I think when you started this, you said you don't believe in a hell. While I, again, respect that, Nikki and I both said, but we would hate to be wrong. But if there is, so I live my life but if there is, I'm not going there.
No, but you know what hell would be for me?
It guarantees that I don't go there.
You know what hell would be for me? Hell would be for me if I have to come back and do this again. Like anybody who knows me, you know, like with my Course in Miracles group or anything, they know, or close to my family, they know that if reincarnation exists, I do not want to do this again. Like, I just want to go be with my family who I've lost, be with my loved ones. I want to learn the lessons that I think I need to learn here in this life. And I do not want to die and then, you know, be born again as some, you know, little boy, you know, and then got to come up and learn whatever lessons I didn't learn as a woman.
You will. Because I think,
let's confirm the reason.
No, but
because we don't have to come back and do it again. I mean, right there.
Do you think I don't believe in Jesus?
No. I was confirming? I was putting a circle around what I was trying to say and the need for Christ. And we were saying that guarantees we don't have to come back and do it again. To me,
but we have free will.
We don't need to come back.
You all are forgetting about free will.
I agree with that.
Let me finish. Yes, you are. You're not. You're only looking at it from a physical standpoint. From the moment of our inception, and when I say inception, from the moment of our creation. And I mean our energy bodies. I'm not talking our physical bodies. From the moment
I agree with you.
God gave us free will.
I agree.
We have free will here. We have free will here, and we have free will in the other dimensions. It is your right to choose whether you want to come back here or not.
I'm afraid I might make the wrong choice.
You might, because when you go back
with you.
When you go
I'm not trying to.
You're right, because when you go back over there, you'll see things differently.
Go back over where?
To the spirit side, to the other side.
Exactly. And one thing I want to say before we go on to the next question is that I'm a Christian, and one thing that I always say on this podcast is that I am not a traditional Christian. I grew up Catholic, and I'm grateful for that because it's a very holy religion, you know, to me, but God to me transcends. The reason I don't believe in hell is because I don't see how the two can coexist, because God and Jesus are beyond that. They transcend that for me. But Jesus, for me, you mentioned he came for our redemption. I agree with that. The way that I see it is he was about forgiveness for me. And so the forgiveness is about forgiving myself. And so if I forgive myself, I don't have to harm you. I don't have to kill you, you know? And so that's what Jesus was about. He was.
But if everybody felt that way, there wouldn't be evil. If everybody felt
that's why we don't know who we are. We don't know who we are.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that part of it.
Mm-hmm. So talk to me about a miracle that you experienced in your life that just had nothing to do with you and your doing. It was completely God.
For me, I think getting my townhouse was a miracle. I always say God was like, I'm going to help this girl because she's been through so much. And it's like, because I remember had a bad divorce, then went into a house of rent, then went into an apartment, knew at that point that I was going to do whatever it took to get my townhouse with the helping my sweet daddy, who's now no longer here. And then I remember looking at all these different places, and it just didn't work out. But it really was best that it didn't work out because they were too small or just not good. And I remember after a while, Chase was so funny. He was like, okay, don't take me to no more places. Just tell me when it's time to move. He was like so sick of it. So anyway, and just emotional because it's a lot to go through all that. But anyway, so I found this place, and the lockbox wasn't even on the front door. My real estate agent called me and said, Nikki, there's a place. You got to meet me tomorrow morning at 8:00, no later. And she said, I got it first, got it on my listing. And she said, meet me there. I'm like, okay, the lockbox not showing and everything. She was one of the first people to, find it. I go in there. It's perfect. It's nothing wrong with it. It's immaculate. It's clean. And it's a foreclosure. I'm like, what? And so anyway, so then it was the only thing they didn't have was no appliances. And so anyway, so then that was the only thing they had. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I've been there since 2010.
Yeah.
I know that was like nothing but him because everything was not working out. There was a short sale, didn't go through. There was a house that was too old, didn't go through. It was just so many things. But this is the place, and I feel so at peace because it had some little features that, my house had that I missed so much and everything like that. So I realized that was good. And then I remember when I was sad about losing my house, the sweet real estate agent gave me peace to continue to do what I had to do to find a townhouse. I was like, I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to leave my house. He said, and he was so sweet. He was like, you need to go and get your own place that you can afford and not depend on your
You and your husband were selling that house?
Yeah, we were selling the house because I was getting a divorce. Right. And so anyway, he said, you need to get a place that you can afford. What he said just gave me so much peace and everything. I was like, okay, okay, you're right. And, and then I'm on and on and on. So I feel that was a miracle.
And he was a little angel sent to you.
He was, to say that. Because everybody doesn't say those nice things because he was a real estate agent.
And he could have made more money.
He could have made more money.
A more expensive
yes.
house. Yeah.
So it was so good. So that was a miracle. I remember that, and everybody was happy. It was a nice space, and it was enough space to do my spa stuff.
Right.
So that was another thing. So that was truly a miracle.
Gia,
Sure. There are quite a few. The one that jumps right to my mind though is my surgery. I had fibroids up until when did I do my surgery? Actually, the surgery was 2014. Because at that time I was self-employed, so I didn't have insurance. And I was there thinking, oh my God, this is going to cost a lot of money. I don't have the money. All I kept saying in my mind, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. That's all I would say in my mind.
And the size of it.
Right.
Share that.
So I was there saying, oh my God, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. That's the thought that's repeating. So I go to New York, 2013, and my spirit mom sat me down on a table with a computer. And she had all these photos of fibroids. She looked at me. She said, this has no business being in your body. The lessons you were needed to learn as a result of the fibroids, you have learned. It's time that you got them out of your body. She showed me all these pictures looking things. And she said, you need to go back home and figure out a way how to do the surgery. But I said to her, but I don't have the money. And she said, have I not taught you anything? Don't you know that in God's world, there's no such thing as money, not having money? And so I go back home and still procrastinated. 6 months passed. She calls me. She says, what are you doing? And she said, you need to start calling up everywhere and trying to figure out how you're going to have the surgery. So I did. Get off my lazy ass, and I did. And I started calling Northside Hospital, everybody. 30,000, 40,000, blah, 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 blah. End up calling Grady Hospital. She said, okay. So I went, got my x-rays there, everything. Didn't have to pay. I probably just paid like about 30% of the services to diagnose everything. And the woman said to me, okay, so you're going to need to do surgery because you can't use the robotic because they're too big. And that it's going to cost $1,000. So I'm like, oh, you're kidding me? It's going to cost me $1,000? Mm-hmm. She said, yes, $1,000. Wow. I almost fell off my chair. Wow. Okay, almost fell off my chair. So I said, okay. Then the other shocker was that I only paid $500 because I had a 50%, 50-50 plan. So I paid 50%, they paid 50%.
Wow.
So that was the other shocker. I only paid $500 to have that surgery. I did have some charges afterwards, but that was on a payment plan. I could do it on a payment plan. And I knew God was there because it just was like 1, 2, 3, easy as peasy. The day of my surgery, everything was just great. I never had any negative experience. I remember, and I had to have a 11-inch vertical incision from underneath my rib cage all the way down to my lower abdominal area, 11 inches, because one of the fibers was on a truncated stalk that was outside the womb, up in my stomach. And so I had to have an 11-inch incision. And I got out of that surgery, walking, like within 1 week within 8 to 10 days, if not less, I was doing my yoga back. Oh, wow. I had absolutely no negative experience, no pain, nothing. I kid you not. I'm not lying.
And didn't you have like a team of doctors from Morehouse School of Medicine?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So I guess I was a project for that. Yeah. Like it was.
It was like you had excellent care.
Wow. Yes. I had excellent in the hospital. The people give Grady a hard knock. I had no bad. I was a vegetarian. They catered to me. They asked me. They made vegetarian meals. Wow. Everything. I never had a truly bad experience there. Yeah. My whole experience was great. The only thing from the surgery that took me about 4 months to kind of get over was I couldn't meditate sitting up. It's the weirdest thing. The body has to take time. Even though the fibers were no longer there, the body still had to readjust, having to deal with not having the fibroids there. It had gotten so used to them being there that they were like, oh. So with them not being there, it was like, my body was like, had to figure itself out. So it took me about 4 months before I was able to sit up and do my meditations like before. But I can truly say that was one truly miraculous moment that I know. So that was my lesson. Anything in life that you want to do, money should never be the object. If it's God blessed and God sanctioned, all you got to do is put 2 steps out and 10 more steps would meet you. Yeah. That was my lesson to learn.
Wow.
Yeah. That's great. That was a truly miraculous experience. Yes. Yeah.
So I don't have one. I can't pick one. I mean, in this time I've been sitting here trying to think of it, and there's just too much to, of course we know that miracles, miraculous things, but I think God has done miraculous things in my life. I can just count back since when I was young, high school, meeting Leah, one of my closest friends who died of cancer before we graduated. And what I learned from that experience, watching her go through cancer, was miraculous to me, that I carry to this day. My mom having cancer twice and being healed without a trace, and us getting to take a trip, because I wrote a letter about it, into the radio, and we got to spend a whole week together going across country on a Greyhound bus, which I would never tell anyone to do. But the experience of it and what we learned from each other, and what I still hold and value today about voting because of an argument we got into on that trip. But it was miraculous to me that she has come through so many things in her life, and she's taught, and God has used that to make me the woman that I am today. I don't know, making it out of a marriage that was really just kind of awful with 2 young boys, and making it work after that for a while until I met a wonderful man and husband that I happened to run into that I hadn't seen in years. Miraculous, just things like that I carry to this day have been miracles. So I really can't just pull one out of there, because I would be, that's it.
Those were beautiful, Lanada.
But how about you, Adrianne?
Like you, I've had so many. The ones that come to my mind really relate to my mom. And the biggest miracles, I've had gigantic miracles, but the biggest ones to me are the little miracles. When my mom was in her final days, we used to pray that we would be together when she passed, because my job had let me work from home during that time. But there were times that I had to leave the house. I might go to the store. I might go get my hair done. I might have to go somewhere for work. But we wanted to make sure I was with her when she passed. And so I was absolutely with her. And also my nephew and his mom were with her when she passed. But the thing leading up to it was she was always in different pajamas every day. Instead of being in her clothes, I'd have her in different pajamas. And so I used to wonder.
Because I hear she was a diva.
She was. And
these pajamas.
I mean, the pajamas were fine. They were nice. She liked lounging pajamas. She liked different. Nikki knew my mom. Yeah. So I used to think, well, what pajamas is she going to have on when she passes away? You know, like what is going to be what is she going to have on that particular day? We don't know when that's going to happen. Yeah. And so the night that she passed, she had been up all day. And my girlfriend, Montine, who we met Montine at the same time. She's a girlfriend that we used to work with a long time ago. And Montine earlier in the day was like, before people pass away, they get a surge of energy, because she had been feeling a little bit better. So I was like, yeah. Nothing is going to happen. And I did have to go on an assignment up in Marietta, and she was in home hospice, and the pastor had come over, and the pastor was like, your mom just can't stay awake. I'm talking to her and she just keeps falling asleep. Like she was on the couch, sitting on the couch. I was like, yeah. Like my mom thought he was kind of boring, so I just thought it's just you and she's tired, right. And then before I came home, my nephew, I think he told me that my mom wanted pizza. My mom didn't like pizza. And I was like, she doesn't even, and I was like, she don't like pizza. I am not bringing pizza home, I'm like, she does not want pizza. I'll bring something that she liked, And so we had a good night, good evening. It was the beginning of football season, like the very first game. And my mother, me, my nephew, and his mom. Great night. And then after we're looking at pictures, we're watching football. And then when she goes to go to bed, I bathe her down and change her into her pajamas. And then she passed, that night. And what she had on was actually these pajamas that my grandmother had bought for both of us, these identical pajamas. So where I had been thinking, there's going to be some pajamas that she has on that she's going to leave in, and I'll never see those pajamas again. I'll never see my mom again. But she actually had on the pajamas that my grandmother bought for the both of us. Wow. So there was no pajamas missing, Wow. And so, I mean, it seems like so simple, but I just felt like God did that, and just the whole way that she passed, it was heartbreaking, but, she just looked at me with the biggest amount of love that a mother could have on a child. Like I was in my bed, and there was a hospital bed that she was in right beside my bed, and she held my face. I was in the bed with her. I laid in the bed with her, and she was holding my face, and I was exhausted. I was so exhausted, and I was like, I gotta move over and get in my bed. I would love to stay here because this felt so good, but I was so exhausted. And she's just holding my face, and she's just looking at me like, I love you so much. And I'm like, I love you so much too. I'm going to roll over here now, over to my bed. Right. And she passed like 15 minutes later. She knew. Yeah, I think she knew. Yeah. It was something. I mean, it was just, and even by the next night, my brothers were in town. A couple of friends were over, and my brothers, we're sitting at this table in my other apartment. My girlfriends and I are sitting at this table. My brothers are across the room. And my mom, I felt her presence. And I was like, boy, they would really trip out if they knew that she's right here, right now, And my mom told me, call Rosemary. She said it just in my mind. Like if you hear your own thoughts, my mom said, Adrianne, call Rosemary. And Rosemary was like her maid of honor, that she had known for like 60 years. And it turns out she was in, I think, Hawaii. She lived in Niagara Falls, but when I reached her, she had been in Hawaii for like 6 months or something like that. But I reached her pretty easily. She wasn't anybody that would just be on my mind like that. But my mom was like, Adrianne, call Rosemary. It was just stuff that is just like so.
Are those rings, any of those rings on your finger belonging to your mom?
This one is my mom's. It's missing a stone.
Okay.
These two are my grandmother's rings.
Okay. I
Yeah.
knew,
Oh,
I
that's
knew
sweet.
they had some familiar.
Yeah.
I felt that they had some familiar connection.
So, ladies, how do you feel about age right now in terms of how the world perceives women and getting older and where you fit in the world? Is that a thing, or is it just a whole non-issue? And how you see yourselves represented in media or when you go out and hang out?
Okay, I'll go first on that one. Now we talking, right? So I think definitely people are embracing it more, meaning that women are confident, and I love it. I love to see the embracing of it and who they are and whatever age they are. I see older women with the gray hair, and they are doing it, and they are on the gram, and they got followers like crazy because every day they look beautiful and they are expressing their beauty in their own way. I see people with natural hair, people without natural hair, whatever. Yeah, so it's all about the embracing of oneself, and I'm here for it for sure. In seeing all that, I'm trying to do my own embracing. Now, I will say that this going gray thing is real, and
You are
I'm intentionally allowing myself to. Basically, I'm not coloring my hair, and I've decided not to color it. Okay, I made the decision not to color it anymore, and I'm gonna need the support of you ladies. It gets hard some days. When it gets hard some days, I mean, I see pictures of myself, and then I can see every single girl. You feel
You
like
have a beautiful texture of hair.
Yeah.
She has a beautiful head of hair.
Girl,
Yeah.
a lot with this hair. But so my hairdresser, Terry, hello Terry,
Hey,
thank you,
Terry.
Nikki. I haven't seen her in so long. It's just because my hair is growing out, but it's usually I'm going to her because I want to color it because this gray's coming in. But I'm really trying to embrace it. I'm just trying to embrace the age thing, as I said, trying to just acknowledge this is where I am. Again, I'm 52. I'm very transparent about things like that, and I just want to see what does it look like. You know, I don't know why I didn't want to embrace it before, and I was kicking and screaming and not going gracefully, but I'm just there at that stage, and I'm being inspired by seeing all these other women. I'm probably the youngest one here amongst you ladies, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you
But
are.
I mean, most of my girlfriends are older, and I got beautiful girlfriends. My friends look beautiful, and you would never know their age.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like I believe that you just take care of yourself. You know, if
Yeah.
you take care of yourself, I'm trying to eat better.
And attitude has so much to do
Attitude
with it
has
too.
does.
so much to do with it. Back to my walking. When I don't do it, I miss it. So just my walking. So it's about attitude. It's
Yeah.
about self-confidence, self-assurance. Talk to yourself, ladies, if you need to do that. Self-care is huge for me. And so, yeah, it's all about the embracing and the self-care vibes for me right now.
For me, age has never been a factor, believe you me. I've always walked the beat of my own drum. I've never felt that I had to fit in. As a child in Jamaica, they always looked at me that I was different. And I didn't understand why. As I've gotten older and once I moved to the US, then I do understand more.
Why?
But
Why?
just was different. I just was different. I just saw things different. I was very dreamy as a child too.
You're Libra.
I was very dreamy, and I was always in my my different worlds, so I was always up there in the clouds, so to speak. I think that was good because it helped me deal with my childhood situations, the early childhood instability. So I think it was very helpful for me as a child. So I was always very different, and I never felt pressured. When I came here to America, and I would see my younger girlfriends go through it who were born here or who had been living here a long time. They had to be married by 30. They had to have a career going. They had to be this in their career. They had to have kids. They had to be married. I never felt like I needed to be on a clock for anybody's. I always felt like I needed to do my own journey. And so I was just doing my thing, doing my life. I didn't feel like I had to be married. I never felt like I had to have kids. I never felt like I had to do this career. I just never felt like I had anything to prove to anybody. So at this point of my journey of 56, I still don't think I have to prove anything to anybody. There's a few gray hairs coming up, and I do pluck them out. I'll be honest. The front, but right now I don't have, I haven't gotten there yet because my hair is predominantly still dark. I mean, just a few gray hairs, they're springing out. But we'll see. I think, like Lanada, when I get to that point where there are too many to count, I think I'd make that decision to just let it all go gray. I don't really dye my hair anyway. And I wear ponytails a lot, so we'll see. I don't think right now I'm struggling. That being said, you just never know what will trigger stuff. You think you know yourself, and you just never know because we struggle with different things. And sometimes stuff is buried deep down that you don't even know that it's there yet till it comes out. You know, when is the time? When is that trigger to pull it out?
Yeah.
But right now, I'm cool with it. I'm fine.
How about you?
Well, I must admit, I color my hair.
Your hair is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I color it. I do get a little Botox sometimes.
You do? Where?
I do. Like right in the middle of my forehead.
Really?
And my forehead, because sometimes I look like a Shar-Pei when I don't have it.
A Shar-Pei.
A what? A Shar-Pei?
That dog, that crinkle.
Really?
I mean, and it's only when I maybe frown or make a face.
Well, I'm telling you, if you didn't say, nobody would know.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's okay. And then I get this one more thing. But it's not consistent. I can't afford it consistently. But, like 3 times a year I get this done. And then because I have a great girl named Dawn. Shout out to Dawn. and so the PRP, which is a little injections, because where I show my age is underneath my eyes. So I get this little PRP, which is drawing blood, your own blood, and putting it somewhere. And she sterilizes it and injecting it back under your eyes. So I get that because the age shows with the sunken under eyes. And so I get that. But I'm not crazy about it. There are people that obsess about it because I used to work at a plastic surgeon's office, and people at 25 and 30 were just crazy about it.
Insane.
I don't think that's normal. Sometimes it's economics. When you're exposed to those things and have the money at that young age, you may think differently. I wasn't able to do all that. I came from a middle income family. So now, I just think about just trying to enhance it, just not go crazy with it. And as far as aging, I need to start exercising more because I feel like the little aches and pains, but mentally I'm okay. It's just I want to just be as good as I can for as long as I can.
Yeah.
I just want to be limber and flexible for as long as I can. But mentally I'm not crazy with it. Yeah.
Like fearful.
Yeah, fearful.
Yeah.
Like one. And you look at Madonna, she's such a beautiful heart. I don't know why because she's a beautiful.
What happened?
Well, with all the plastic surgery that she's
but not
done.
only that,
I haven't seen her lately. I guess
What?
She wears a darn grill.
Yeah.
She wears a grill. She's going crazy trying to like
when she put it on, it's like, wow.
it's like you get now that's craziness. Like she wants to be young, so age and not age.
she's just
She
scared.
was on Jimmy Fallon or one of those late night shows, and she had on a grill.
Oh.
And her face looks so different.
Distorted.
It
doesn't
does?
look like
So-
she don't look
no.
like herself. And she's such a beautiful spirit.
Yeah.
I don't think she needed to do that, but
Yeah,
I have not seen
you check
her
her out.
lately.
And then another thing I said, for her to even want to do a show, to me shows she's just something. She's trying to grab on to something.
Trying to hold
Like
on.
a concert show?
Concert. She has a concert coming up. Like I
Okay.
feel like she hasn't done a song forever. Like like why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that album she did, which was Ray of Light, and I thought that was a very pivotal moment for her. I think that album showed great growth and depth. I don't know. Once she hooked up with Guy Ritchie, in my mind, she just went
Downhill.
Yeah, but
You know who I was looking at yesterday? I was looking at some clips, and I thought she was older. I thought she was in her 60s, but my point is that I think she looks really good. She's actually not in her 60s. It's Pamela Anderson.
Oh yeah.
I was looking at her. I just feel like she just looks so good. Like as she gets older, she just still has that youthful spryness, light spirit.
Yeah, I think she does too,
And
yeah.
but trust me, she'd put some. She has Botox. Trust me.
but she probably does.
She's
I was
not,
thinking
she's
that.
not
Some of
going
them do.
overboard.
No,
with
she's only 55 or 6, I think.
How about Angela Bassett? No Botox there.
No, I don't know what Angela Bassett has done. I don't know.
Angela
Looks
think?
good.
I don't think
Whatever she's doing, she look great.
I don't think she did anything.
I don't think too drastic.
If she did, it's very mild.
Oh yeah,
What's her name?
Shirley Ross. Yeah, something like
Shirley
Oh.
Rose.
She
maybe
looks
just a little
great.
enhancement here and
She's
there, but
Jamaican.
nothing too.
Oh, Shirley Rouse?
Yeah,
Crazy
those
about her.
two, maybe
So
her
then
and
you got her age.
Angela Bassett,
No,
maybe
no,
just a
I'm not
little
crazy
bit.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't
But
know.
it's not
Is she
anything
Jamaican?
that makes them look distorted.
already
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, if you guys have a superpower, a gift that is specific to you, what do you think that is?
You mean we have it now?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you think your superpower is?
What do you think your superpower is?
Wow.
I think if I could say this, I don't know if this isn't a superpower, but it is a natural thing with you. I have wanted to bring this up in the beginning, Nikki, is that Nikki's spirit is the same as it was when I met her when we were 18.
Wow.
I mean, your spirit is just like
Yeah.
and Nikki will kick your ass. She will curse you out.
And you don't see it because she's so sweet and
she can shift into that that mindset.
Well, Nikki, I don't want to meet that.
No, she will curse you out if she needs to. You know, that's if you take her there.
True.
But she is naturally she's naturally a joyous person. She's naturally like a light spirit. And so before you say what your superpower is, speak to that.
I guess I'll say that's true. It's
You have to know
so
that's true.
It's true because it takes a lot for me to get really angry, but when I do, I'm gonna be woo.
She's an Aries.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
yeah. But it takes a lot for me to get there, and it doesn't happen often at all. But I guess I would say that's
If
probably
you're
true.
an Aries, I believe you.
But your
Yeah.
spirit is very light.
Yeah.
It's light.
Yeah.
It's lighter than the average person. It's like you have a joyful spirit.
Wow.
I mean, you saying wow, you know that, right?
I know, but it's not, sometimes, but it's nice to hear that, you don't really think about, God, I have such a joy.
No, but it's true. It's true. Yeah, you're always.
Oh Lord.
But it's true. Yes, you just see that love and that light bubbling out of you. I
don't know that I've ever seen her frown.
Yeah, me neither. I've never seen her frown, and I've never seen any darkness in you.
And it's so good to have somebody recognize that. And Rennie, I'm so thankful to have him because he's so sweet and appreciates me, for those things, whereas I had somebody that didn't. So it's so good to have that. Because, when you're going through and you don't, you're like, why could you not be nice to me? You know what I mean? Like,
You start questioning yourself in some sort of way.
Yeah.
So what do you think your
I guess
gift?
my gift is trying to keep peace and be happy and joyous and give people respect and demand respect. And never be negative.
you have a certain outlook on life.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I never knew this, but working with my coworker and everything, man, she is so negative. I didn't realize how positive I was compared to her. But for instance, Lisa Marie Presley died. We saw something where they were advertising Miley Cyrus, that great video that she's doing, walking just joyous with this beautiful gold dress on.
Right.
And so then Pam said, that's going to be the next one.
That's mean.
And I
Next
said,
one what?
Did die?
Miley Cyrus.
Because of what she's been through in life. I said, you don't see the growth in Miley Cyrus. How she was crazy at one time.
I love Miley.
Yeah.
You don't see her evolve. People go through these things.
But I did get Miley.
But she
I understood her.
I said she's
Yeah.
still.
Was she trying to say something negative about
she
Lisa
said
Marie? And
She
saying
thinks
that?
that maybe she died of drugs. I guess that's what. And who knows? It may be true.
Got a heart attack. What the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, that's my point. So I just said, how can you say that? I said she's evolved. I said she went through a little craziness, but now you can tell she's mature. She's grown. She's beautiful right there, dancing in the in the outside somewhere.
Yeah.
And I said, plus her her godmama gonna keep her straight. Or what's her name?
Dolly.
Dolly.
Oh, that's her
godmother. And I
Okay.
didn't really know that till I said her godmother. And I'm so glad I stood up to say that. And that's just so negative. Why would you say that? Why would you put that on somebody?
Yeah.
Because there is this jealousy towards celebrities because they have money. People think because celebrities have money that they're not human.
Right.
Too. They need to just just look at these people as humans.
Exactly.
Because that's what they are.
Well, you can see that. Look at so many people that commit suicide.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought Twitch would have committed suicide?
Exactly.
As joyous as he appeared.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you see that they can, you know.
Yes.
So anyway, so I was just glad I stood up for that and said what I felt and, you know, and was true to myself to say that and everything. She shut up, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, you know. And, you know, because
that's what's killing
I saw
us.
a little bit of the switch right there.
Yeah.
Did you see it? She was like, for a second.
yeah, so.
But that's the problem. We just don't know how to be kind.
I know.
You know, my goal is just try to be kind and loving.
Right, exactly,
You know?
exactly.
You know, and I know I'm mouthy and I'm like opinionated, but I think that the kindness is really missing. We just don't know how to be kind.
Yeah.
and
Right.
loving.
But you know what?
You know?
I think besides that, what
Yeah.
you're saying, I do think it's something within you. And I think if you're not happy with yourself, no matter what, that you can't see the outside. Because the thing about it, she's married to a guy that has money. She lives in a beautiful place in Lake Lanier. I'm thinking to myself, what in the world? Can you be sad about? You got a boat. She talks about that all the time. And I'm thinking to myself, but you know what?
It don't mean
it don't matter.
It don't mean nothing.
Yeah. It's like,
Just
you're
like-
right.
Yeah, and they will envy you even if you don't have anything.
But you don't know what somebody's
'Cause
going through
I've
behind
had that
closed doors
experience.
either.
You're right.
You don't know what
No,
somebody's
I've
going through
had that
behind.
experience. Like I had a cousin who did something very malicious to me when I was probably 27, and I couldn't understand why. I was like, she had everything. She had a dude who loved her. Really? They had money. They had everything. Why would she do that? And I remember a very good friend who knew all of us said, because she's jealous of you. She's jealous because you're free.
Oh.
And or can do anything that you want and all that stuff. I just couldn't understand why she would do that. That's why money, as we get, money is just a tool to do things. People need to understand that money doesn't, stop envying people. All the social media nonsense about living vicariously through other people's lives is because you ain't got nothing going on in yours. So you need to try to make sure yours have some stuff happening, okay? Okay, these people are people just like me and you, okay?
What would you say your superpower is?
I think my superpower is people naturally gravitate towards me. Like Nikki, I'm outwardly friendly and sweet. And I think because I'm personable, and I think my gift is just, people feel very comfortable telling me all kinds of stuff. I'll just meet somebody and then they'll just tell me, they just feel comfortable. And I guess it comes from my healing work too, people tell me. So I think that's my secret power or whatever. It's like I have the ability to make people feel comfortable to talk to me about stuff.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I can see that.
I think
But
that
you can't leave out your hands, girl.
Oh,
You
that's
can't
true.
leave out your ability
That's
to
true.
make
I was
people
going to
feel
say
good
something
from
else,
inside.
but that is true. You're a healer. That's we're going to
that's
save that.
true.
We're going to save that
That's
for my
true.
next question.
That probably is my secret, because I am a healer. I see myself as a healer.
That's
with
going to be my
hands,
next question after we get to Lanada. But I will say that you are an extremely giving person. And I remember maybe about 10 years ago, I remember we were at Pastis restaurant. Somebody was in town, I think came in town to visit you, and I was there and
Catherine,
you were there.
my
and
best friend. It was Catherine.
I can't remember.
There was another woman with her.
Yes.
Her. Yeah.
And I remember just looking at you like, wow, like you are one of the most giving people I've ever met. You're very, very giving. And I think that speaks to, it's a part of your nature, but I think that speaks to the connection that people form with you because it's coming from a loving place. It's not a exchange.
Right.
It's coming from a loving place. And so it makes that person feel loved.
Thank you. And, I beat myself up all the time because I don't give gifts. But 90% of the time is, I don't want to buy something that you're just going to I think gift giving is sacred. It must be something about that gift that you know that person is going to like or
Right,
cherish or
right.
appreciate. So I always feel like I'm not giving enough because I don't buy gifts a lot of them. I was like, what do I need to get here? I need to get something.
Okay,
I don't know what to get.
First of all, like to me, her gift is anytime I have something, I know when Gia comes, the room's gonna light up. You know what I mean? Like it's a party when Gia
Right.
And that is a gift in and itself.
Right,
Like I mean, your friends bring energy, but she brings an energy that's like she don't care if you have a good time. She gonna have a good time,
Right.
and she gonna get you
That's
to.
true.
But if you don't want to go, she gonna
That's
do it
true.
all on her own.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a
true.
gift.
That's
you
true.
know,
That
just
is
to
a
know
gift.
that you're gonna be on the party list, where the invite list. Party.
That's true. If I'd gone to college, I probably would have been known as a party queen right there.
That's a gift.
Yeah.
What is your
guys.
superpower, Lanada?
I think for me, I don't know, people agree with this, but I just want to see people in peace. Like, I don't like to see people stressed and I don't want to be stressed. Shiloh, stop licking me. You always licking me. I'm sorry. I know. Yeah, I just like my desire, I guess. I think is that. So people would call me in church the peacemaker back in the day. And for me, I think it had to do with when I just saw people quarreling with each other. It's like, come on, we don't need to do that. We're it doesn't mean that you don't get mad at the person. But generally, I'm the type where if we got beef, let's deal with that. Once we done, I'm back to whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
good. I love you. Go, let's move on. We going out? That's that way. So I don't like to wallow in negative stuff. I don't do drama like that. Now, if we got to go there, we're going to go down my areas too, like Nikki. So, but once we done, we good.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that ability to not, I don't want to be the one to cause you stress because we should not have that inside of us. So I think that, yeah, I guess that's why I really am big about just, especially if you're home. Like your home is your one place of refuge.
true.
That is like, if we got so much out here once we leave these doors, when you come home, if you don't find peace anywhere, you got to get it at home.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why that's the foundation of what I do at my business. But I also think peace starts from within. Because if you got hell in you, it doesn't matter where you are. You're going to bring it with you. You're going to travel with it. So you do have to deal with the things that are on the inside first. But that's my calling's not necessarily, well, it maybe that's my ministry is do the work as far as the physical or what it looks like. But I still want to talk to you and say, sister, let's deal with this first, because you're not going to be happy if you dealing with this or dealing with that. And I know because I've had to have those talks with myself, and I still do. But I just don't like to see people stressed and dealing with stuff. Anxiety is just ugly.
And that's how it comes out. That's why your work speak for yourself. Your interior decorating,
I hope so.
Yeah, you like to create spaces for people to be comfortable within themselves and help to bring out the best of themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why that's a gift. That's part of your gift, part of your art form. You're very talented.
My previous guest is a very dynamic person. She would remind you, she's younger, but she would remind you her spirit somewhat of jazz. She's real dynamic. And she is so honest about how it is hard for her to be still. She's married with 2 kids, and she was talking about how her quiet time sometimes is in her car. And I was thinking about you because I was like, oh, you got to meet Lanada. You got to meet Lanada so she can create a peaceful space. I didn't bring it up, but I certainly was thinking that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm big ups to her to get it in where she could get it, because we do need to get it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I get that too. Sometimes I'll sit in the car and just talk because I don't want to be disturbed or when you're talking to somebody else. Yeah, I get that, staying in the car for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that, the people that we live with cause us stress or anything like that. But, sometimes we just break down things differently in our minds and deal with things, and we need to quiet the noise. I mean, I was just sharing this with friends yesterday at an event that, and imposter syndrome is real. And while I deal with that sometimes in my business and what I do, it's, we all deal with that in different ways. It comes out in different ways sometimes that, we negate ourselves and who we are sometimes, or we forget that we're out here giving and giving, but we don't take in an opportunity to just be still and be quiet for ourselves. That's a gift that we give ourselves, to sometimes just start getting back in the gym again, because that's for you. That's your gift to you, because you know the value of that. And we have to be really personal and how we protect that, So anyway, I just applaud the young lady for being that way.
Yeah.
Sorry. What is the imposter syndrome? I'm sorry, I'm not hip.
It's negative thought about yourself. It's sometimes losing the confidence that you should be where you are, or you belong at that space or in that time or whatever it is. It's negative thought and taking that into where you let it affect your...
Like self-sabotage.
Actually, that was something that came up. She didn't use that word, but another guest that I had is in her early 40s, and she felt like she should be, and she's a very successful woman, but she felt like she should be in a better place than she is now. And as I say, she's very successful. Do you guys feel like that ever?
Oh, yeah, I do. Sometimes. And not that I'm not grateful to where I am now, because, I am grateful to where I am now, but I definitely have moments where, and it's not like on a long term, but I do have times where I feel like I would have wanted to do this, and this too. That's a part of me probably struggling with my perfectionism or taking on too much, which I tend to do. I want to do everything. I mean, when I was younger, I did ballet, I did gymnastics, because I was switching something every 2 years. I really was. We're not like that now, but I know there's a part of us.
I will tell you, I'm like that now as far as wanting to go somewhere. So I'm talking about having a little trip with my daughter to Disney. I'm like a big kid for my birthday. Then I saw somebody on the slopes. I said, dog, I want to go on the slopes too. I'm like, I just want to do everything. You know what I mean? So I do. I guess I'll say I do that too.
Because you're true adventurous.
Yeah.
Adventurous. So you like new experiences.
So, I think that's what it relates to. So, the times when I feel like that, I think it's just because I feel like I'm supposed to do everything that I would have wanted to do in this life. Well, what about perfecting this lane? And I think that's just a part of who I am and what I've struggled to just stay here for a while.
Yeah. Do you ladies feel like you're okay with where you are in your life?
I am okay, but I do need to do more. So I know that. I'm okay with where I am, but I know I need to do more.
Me too.
And anything that I need to do is always at the back of my mind how I can give back to society. So that's why I say I need to do more for that reason. Not because I think I need to prove anything to anybody in terms of, because I'm this age, I'm supposed to have a level of success. I should have more money in the bank. I should have a fancy car. It's not any of those things. It's really more about what I can do to help the world a better place, my community to be a better place. So I know I do have more work to do in that regards. I'm just so lazy at times to do it. But
Well, we need rest sometimes.
Yeah, and I've been resting a really long time, like 4 years now.
Oh, come on. That is not true. That is not true. That is not true.
Resting, stuff I get going. But and I did tell you, I went to have a massage. Remember I told you I went to have a massage and Thai massage, and it was really good. I had 3 hours of massage, and the deal was, you get 2 hours of massage and 1 hour of foot massage, and you get that for $210. Yeah, and so I said, okay, you know what? Why not? I had 2 hours of Thai massage instead, so I still paid a little bit more on that. I probably paid $20 more. But by the time I finished with the bill, my bill was like $285. And I said to myself, because the tip alone was almost $50. Then they charged me almost $10 credit card fee. Yes. So $60 of that money was not about the massage. And I said to myself, my God, how can people afford to get work done?
Wow.
this is not something to be
work as in work on your body,
on your body to get this healing.
Yes.
How can you afford? You can't
Physical
afford
healing.
this. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. And I was there saying to my God, and I was just blown away by it. And I was just saying, you know what? I have the ability to help to create spaces to, if it's even just a small amount of the community, for people to be able to access something. So I said I was going to work on, put a plan together to work on it, to create some kind of community outreach where people can come and get some kind of a massage for it being affordable. Somehow. Because I said, you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution, right? And even though it is the way it is, that doesn't mean it has to stay that way. I think that's what we have to remind ourselves. That we all can make a difference. We all can. It may seem like it's impossible, but if you look at the big thing, you're like, oh my God, of course you're going to get blown away by the magnitude of thinking you could ever change anything. But you don't have to look at it that way. You could just look at it from from a small community standpoint, and maybe something will catch on, because it's all about leading by example. Somebody may see your idea and be like, okay, I could do that. You know what I mean?
Well, so I want to wrap this up with asking you all if you're a healer or a seeker. And then also, as you incorporate that, share what you do and how people can reach you if they wanted to. Okay. So I'll start with you. Are you a healer or a seeker, or are you both?
I would say maybe a little bit of both. Because I do seek out, to always try to strive and do better and, be a better person, try to be more spiritual and things like that. But then I'm a healer because I guess I do try to bring peace. Even with Peyton and Chase, I just have to make sure, okay, Peyton, understand that Chase, has struggles, just be patient and nice and things like that, And so I guess I'll say, healer. And so I am an esthetician that I do it on the side at my home. I've been doing it for many years, about 30 years.
Well, how would you like for people to reach you? On social media, email?
Social media. I cannot remember my long Instagram number.
Is that Beautiful Faces by Nikki? Am I making that up?
Yeah, that's right. Beautiful Faces by Nikki. All my emails, spanikki1@yahoo. That's right.
And you, Miss Lanada Chanel Duncan?
Seeker, I think I'm in a space where I want to start shutting up more. I can see my husband jumping up for joy right now, right as I say that. I want to start being quiet and listening. I want to do better with listening, not even to what people say, but what they don't say, and to body language. So I want to do more of that. So to me, I'm seeking more of the understanding of people and of experiences and of situations. I just want to learn more about history, about this, about that. Just learn more. So I'm seeking, that deeper connection with God in that way. Healer from, a perspective of what I feel my passion is and what I feel I'm called to do is just to help people feel better in their space.
You are an interior.
I'm an interior designer, and I am all about creating the cozy and the peace and the beauty in a space to help people really experience tranquility at home, have an experience at home, an experience that they can take with them and enjoy. So I do interior design here in the Metro Atlanta area. And my company is BE Decors, BEDECORS.com is how you can find out all about what I do.
And you know what? I actually have one more question after this.
Okay. So healer. I always refer to myself as a healer. That is true. I believe in my thoughts on healing, or my goals on healing, is to use the senses to create healing spaces for people. That being sound, touch, sight, smell, aroma. Because I believe all those things are healing to us. That those are gifts of God. That, to help us to really check out or check in, depending on how you look at it, because words are very mercurial. And I do believe that God gave us those tools so that, when challenges come our way, we can use those things to kind of heal and ground us. So I do believe that's my passion, actually, being a healer. That's my true passion. And I use tools of yoga, Thai massage, meditation, etc. with my clients. Seeker. Am I seeking? I don't know if I'm seeking. I guess if I'm seeking anything is like Lanada, a deeper connection with God, with my creator, to be more present, to listen more. Ditto on that, girl child. Listen more, be even more kinder, to be even more loving. That's my true goal. And whatever I do, it is at the root of whatever I do, even if it's a job that it's about a survival job, because as artists you have your survival job and then you have your creative job sometimes. So whatever I do, it's my goal to use those tools to always try to express that as best as I can. So that's what I seek. I seek the creator's presence to guide me in all that I may do.
And how can people reach you?
That's a good question. I think they can reach me at...
And we advise them to reach you.
You can reach me at 404-438-8996. 404-438-8996. That is Om Thai Yoga. And it's best that you call me and leave a message. Or even if you text me, I will call you back. Because I am very old school. I do not make appointments through text unless you're my long-standing client that I've known for ages. All new people must come through to me with a voice exchange.
Right. And
So
what Gia does is phenomenal in terms of her Thai yoga massage. It's just amazing. She starts at your feet and she works her way up your body, and she uses her physical strength and acupressure and massage, and she gets really down in your muscles, and it is soothing and healing, and it's an amazing experience. And then she also does, in that session, if you like, she does hot stones. I mean,
aromatherapy.
You're going to walk out of there like Jello.
Gemstone therapy, if you like.
Wow.
I mean, you're going to walk out of there like Jello.
I got to do it.
So you all shared.
Wait a minute. We didn't ask you about yours.
That's right.
You have to say yours.
Yeah.
My
Seeker.
You're a seeker.
I'm a seeker. I'm trying to. I know that there's an aspect of me that's a healer. I mean, just through the podcast itself, I'm a seeker. And my gift is that I see people. I see live people. Like, some people see dead people.
Yeah.
I see live people. No.
Right, me too.
No, like I see who a person really is. I see who that person is, and I try to connect with that person, and that person may or may not want to be connected with. Like, I feel other people's energy. I see the entity that God made. I'm sure I don't see the complete entity that God made, but I see an aspect of the entity that God made. And it's my nature to want to mesh with that. I don't know what that is, but it's just something that I see.
Right. Their uniqueness. I like you see people's uniqueness. I like people too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really a people person, despite all, what it may come with. I think it's our responsibility as folks who are knowers, how to place people in our lives where that makes it beneficial.
Yeah, their authentic self.
Well, to help them bring out their authentic selves.
Yeah,
yes.
but that's what we see. We see their
Yeah.
authentic self.
Well, you do, even though a lot of times we can't see it for ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes I'm starting to understand that sometimes when I rub people wrong, it's because something they're picking up that I sense who their authentic self is, and it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and I'm not looking at anything negative. It's not like, oh, I'm looking at, some negative aspect, but they, it's like I'm seeing like the raw them, and that can make them uncomfortable, and
Sure.
they can be a jerk.
They have not actually acknowledged it for themselves. They're very fearful of it.
Yeah.
What I pick up on in your ability to do that is that you also have the ability to, the opposite, make them feel comfortable too, because you see them.
Yeah.
You're
not judging.
You're not judging. You don't judge them. And it's like, and there's a place of, and you're okay. Just talk about, you get people to share their story. You have it, but because they see you take an interest in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like she literally takes an interest to get you to open up about something, and they probably wouldn't normally do that, but knowing that there's someone who actually is interested. You know what I mean?
But to me,
you're actually interested. Someone
to me,
sees them.
to me, that's what life is about.
Yeah.
That's what the world is about. To get up and go to work and whatever, we do all day long, it's really not about that if it's not connecting with who you are. So my last question, and I thank you guys for doing this. You talked about what you do and how that can help others. What do you feel that God calls you to do for yourself in your work? Yeah. What is God calling you to do? How does that feed into your purpose?
In my work, in my healing work,
Yeah.
I've always seen myself.
For yourself. For
yourself.
yourself.
Okay, for myself. So I think my healing work has really helped me to be more present with people. It's also helped me to connect. In me connecting physically with my hands, and I guess my close proximity, because you're right there. My hands, I can feel people better. Like I'll have my hands on people and I can pick up certain things. I hear certain things, So I think this work that God has blessed me to do, in healing them, I actually heal myself, because I really come out of those sessions feeling renewed. Sometimes I'm floating, like, but there have been 1 or 2 times that I've come out really tired, I tell you.
Yeah.
And it just depends on what kind of session it is. I think God gave me that gift to use to connect, I think.
Yeah. Lanada?
So initially I started off talking so much when I was doing my business about self-care and peace. And I've gone from peace to cozy, if you follow me through the whole thing. And to me, it all ties in together. But again, it's because that's how I want to feel. It's how I want to live my life. At the same time, it's a catch-22 because I work a lot. And I'm so happy to be able to do this now full time. In my heart, in my mind, I don't care about working a lot. Like literally, even if I'm busy, I pop up thinking, going straight to because I got things in my head I need to get out. But therein lies the problem too, that I forget the foundation of and I've been doing that a lot lately. So to answer the question, I have to practice what I preach. And I cannot forget that I do this better when I am practicing my own self-care and when I'm, doing the things that I should be doing and making sure my space is around me, and I do that. I've created a space in my home, but, just continuing to dwell or experience that, benefit from all of that, to where it can live out fully in my business. And I feel better when I go and talk to a client because I live this, and I want you to see and feel that I live this. Not that I know everything about it, but let's do this together because I live this. So I have to remember that. And I think that's what I needed.
Awesome. And how about you? I'm still amazed at what you do in terms of the waxing in those intimate places.
Intimate places. Somebody,
we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, because I'm like, whoa.
A friend of mine said, girl, when she was doing the same thing, she said, we see more of that than some men. I said, I know. I know. Well, because I
then
do.
some women
And
on the
that's
opposite
right.
side.
That's right. So for me, I will say I love it because, my day-to-day job, my survival job is just basic. It's no creativity. It's just basic, just paying those bills, whatever. But it has given me stability. But keeping the spa thing is really me. It's me in my own little world. It's me doing what I want to do. For the 2 past Saturdays, I've had last Saturday, my client and her son's girlfriend, and then yesterday my 2 friends, and it's just good because we can laugh, we can joke. I'm in my own little element. My room is really coming complete. I love it. I have a picture and bling of Audrey Hepburn, Beyonce, Marilyn Monroe. It is bling, bling, bling. And that's me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm able to do what I want to do. I talk what I want to talk about. I don't have to worry about it. And then I have a picture of the girls, me, Peyton, Veronica, and Sydney, and bling. And so anyway, so it's just that helps me be balanced because it still gives me that creative side that I will never let go. Fortunately, I was doing it full time at one time, but it was just so unstable. It is. And I just got a little burned out on the instability.
Sure, I did it for 15 years too. And it's up and down, down. So I totally get it.
You get it. So that's why I was like, at least I feel like I have the best of both worlds, stability but creativity.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You gotta stop that.
What?
What do you get out of what you do? Tell me with that.
Gosh, I love talking about God more than I love talking about anything else, period. I love talking about God. For one thing, that connects me with myself. That connects me with the other person. I love that. And I think that God calls me to heal myself in that way and to help whoever needs to hear it understand that God loves them no matter what, and use myself as an example. So whenever I have an opportunity to do this, I just love it. I just love it.
That's good.
That is so needed. Right now, it's just that's what the world needs. I'm sorry, but it's just timing is everything. It's such a good time for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
True.
Sorry. I truly believe the pandemic, even though it was very challenging, it was a great moment for us to reset the clock in terms of how we interact and go about our daily lives. I don't know, there seems to be just rush to get back to what life was like before the pandemic. And I think that's a mistake. I truly do believe that. It's almost like we didn't learn anything because people were using that time to connect and do things from the heart, the spirit, the soul. And I'm worried that all that is being lost again,
I don't know if we can go backwards in that way.
Well, some folks are certainly trying to bring it back to pre-pandemic.
Yeah,
some people are really trying.
But thank you.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you, my love.
Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can listen to every Let's Start Healing episode on traditional platforms. Please subscribe. Let us know what you think about the podcast. And until next time, let's start healing.